spam.
It's spam calling. Actually, I knew this was going to be the problem with using Rob's phone because his tends to ring a
all
lot
the time.
more. But he also has the greatest reach. You think we should? We're going to try to go live on mine, but hopefully, it won't echo. So let's see. No. All right. If anybody pops up, we'll ask them, is there an echo? How about that?
Mm-hmm.
You're live now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we are trying to go live on both Rob's Facebook and mine. If anybody's out there, let me know if there's like an echo. But I guess I don't think there would be because they'll only be following one of us. So there might be an echo with us.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, what we are here talking about, hey Jennifer, no echo. Okay, perfect. What we are going to be talking about today is, I don't know where to look now because there's two cameras. I'm going to look at mine. What we're going to be talking about today is what's about to come down the pike on August 17th. So, yeah, you might have heard, you might not have heard, but the National Association of Realtors and the whole realtor world is about to change. It's a pretty harsh, drastic change in regards to how buyers will go about buying a home. Nothing to panic about. Many states have already been doing this, but this will be, come August 17th, a nationwide change across the board. It will be mandatory, non-negotiable in regards to how a house is shown and how a house is sold. More primarily towards the buyer side and the buyer's agent, and that's what we're going to be talking about today, but it comes in the form of a buyer's agreement, buyer agent agreement to be specific. So what that actually is when a buyer is preparing to buy a home, they will have to sit down with the buyer's agent and discuss what both of those roles are going to look like versus like the buyer's agent's role and the buyer's role. So gone are the days of showing up in front of a home and saying, hey, so-and-so, I want to see this home. You possibly could still do that, but that's not going to be the correct, appropriate way of doing things. In my opinion, it's not going to be the most protective way to do things for a buyer. So, yeah, it's going to cause the whole entire buyer's process to basically slow down a bit. So right now, as it stands, I'll just back up a little bit. When we pretty much are listing heavy. We're agents that pride ourselves in being listing agents. We do work with plenty of buyers. We sell plenty of homes, but we do carry a lot of listings for the size of our office. So when we meet with potential sellers, the normal process is they meet with us, they interview us, we explain what we are going to provide for them, we explain their roles in the entire process, we discuss commissions, yada, yada, yada. But it's a process. It doesn't just happen like that. I mean, it takes an average of we're pretty fast, about 4 to 7 days to get a house listed. But that doesn't ever go without us sitting down with the seller, having a vital discussion about what we bring to the table and what we, need on their behalf to be able to work cohesively together to get the house sold. So that's how a listing goes. And in the past, for buyers, any buyer could hit a Zillow button and get some random Jobo realtor to show them a house. Hence why realtors got the bad reputation of just being door openers. Those days are gone. You can do that, but I can guarantee you that Joe Blow realtor is going to show up at that door, a realtor you possibly never met, with a buyer's agent agreement in hand. They're going to look at you and say, before I can open this door for you, you're going to have to sign this agreement. Now, what's in that agreement? That's probably many, many, many more lives. But the main thing is your responsibility as a buyer, their responsibility as your buyer's agent. You are entering into a contractual, legally binding agreement with this realtor saying you are agreeing to work with them. They're agreeing to show you this house or houses over however long, because it's all negotiable in the contract. And sorry, Delta's here. She'll make a little appearance, I'm sure. But you're agreeing that for a certain amount of time, for a certain amount of addresses, you are solely going to use this particular realtor. So how does that look in the real world? You want to step in there?
Well, there's, just like Faye said, and I'll just kind of recap a little bit, there is now a buyer agent agreement form. It's actually a few pages, and there's a few of them, a few different ones.
There's 4 buyer's agents agreements to be exact. That's not anything that the buyer really has to get bogged down with. That's more of the realtor side of it. But just to let you know, each one of those are 4 pages times 4, that's 16. And then there's 2 other forms between the listing agent and the seller now, which is another 8 pages. So it's a lot more paperwork. So that's just one of the minor negatives. But go ahead, sorry.
Yep. So that means, and I'm just recapping what Faith said, but this means that you are now, if you want to go see a house, if you see a house for sale, you drive by, you see a sign, you want to go see that house, whoever you call, your friend, realtor, your sister, the listing agent, whoever it is, you go see that house. Before you can go see that house, before you can go in, you and the realtor have to have a discussion, and you have to come to a contractual agreement that is signed in these papers that we've been talking about to go and see this house. It's unlike anything really Florida has ever done. I'm sure there are a few agents here and there that have done it because they came from another state where it's been mandated for a while, but Florida's not been this way. So it's going to be an adjustment, a pretty big adjustment for buyers, because I'll be honest, before I was a realtor and I wasn't doing anything on a weekend, I'd go pop in a bunch of open houses even if I wasn't really wanting to buy a house, just to go see the houses. And I may see one that's really, really pretty and I want to go see it, and I call the realtor and just say, hey, I want to go see this house, with not much intention of actually buying it. You can still do that, but understand when you do that, you're entering now into a contractual agreement with whatever agent opens that door for you, a binding signed agreement. Now, the length of that agreement is negotiable, and all the details in that agreement are negotiable. But understand, to get in that house, you are going to be signing a contract now. It will not just be walking in willy-nilly into any house anymore. So
he mentioned a question that I'm sure a lot of people are going to have in regards to this is open houses. Am I going to have to sign one of these agreements just to get in an open house? The answer to that currently, unless things change, is no. When you go to an open house, that agent sitting that open house is there to represent the owner of the house, the seller of the house. So you can, by all means, come to that open house as it stands. And unfortunately, this thing is not settled completely, which has been the thorn in our side as brokers and realtors, is because we're still learning too, here in Florida especially, but you will be entering that home unrepresented to look at the open house. Now, that's all fine. The listing agent or whoever's sitting in the open house is working on behalf of the seller. Now, say you like that home and you just happen to like that agent that's sitting in that home and you want to make an offer. Well, then that's when you would have to have that sitting agent, listing agent, y'all would sit down and that form would have to be immediately filled out prior to that contract being written. And it's just one of those things. If you say, well, I'll go look at the open house, I'll call my buddy down the street who's a realtor, that's great too. but you will have to sign that buyer's agent agreement before your friend realtor can bring you into that house again or write a contract for that house or move forward on that house. Then there's going to be those that say, well, I'll just skip it and go straight to the listing agent. Perfectly fine too here in the state of Florida. You are able to do that. We are able to write the contract for you and transition into a transaction agent, transaction broker, with everybody on board with that. So there are plenty of options, but just know that this specific form, which is the exclusive buyer's agent agreement, will have to be filled out, period. And within that form, like I said, it has the terms of the negotiable terms written out between you and that agent, how long they're going to basically be in contract with you, for what property. It could be an area, it could be 3 properties, it could be 1. I mean, it's all like going to be.
It could be for 1 day.
Yeah.
It could be for 30 days.
And there also is, because there's plenty of trolls out there that are loving this fact, and they're taking some of this information, as we all know, people on social media and the media like to do, and they're using this information and twisting it and saying, oh my goodness, buyers are going to have to pay their buyer's agents now. Which brings me to my next point. That is not the actual fact. That is not always going to be the case. Sellers are still very able and willing, like we work with many sellers right now, and they're all willing to pay a buyer's agent. So the buyer isn't necessarily going to have to come up with $6,000-$7,000 to pay this agent on this specific home. There might be the occasion where the seller doesn't want to pay a buyer's agent. That is why it is going to be vital for you as a buyer to find a good, strong, solid, knowledgeable agent that will be able to possibly negotiate that commission into the contract. They're going to know the loans. They're going to have a good loan officer that can tell you if you could include it in closing cost or not, depending on the loan. But they're also, I mean, there's ways to deal with that. But on this buyer's agent agreement, you will sit down with an agent, and there is a place where there might be a retainer fee. That is a non-refundable retainer fee. That is negotiable too. That is going to be between you and your agent. If you have that buyer's agent, and I'm going to tell you for me personally, if you have that buyer's agent out looking at 30 homes, I'm probably going to request some type of retainer fee, because I've had clients look at 30 homes and didn't like really any of them, and they were just like, oh, I don't want to use this area, and they moved to North Carolina. And I'm like, that's a little stark difference. You could have probably knew that in the front end. Have I ever done that? No. Is that a possibility? Yes, possibly, because buyers agents shouldn't have to work for free, and they're not going to, if they're a good agent. If they're a good agent, let me put that out there. There is a place for the buyer's agent's commission too, in which you will have to come to terms with your agent about what you are able to pay them, willing to pay them, if a seller doesn't cover that. I'll be honest with you, what I'm seeing now still is most sellers see the benefit of paying the buyer's agent. I mean, because let's be real, if this economy isn't the greatest, interest rates are already higher than usual, and it's hard to get a loan as it is. It's hard to, to bring that much money to the table, and to add a couple $1,000s on top of it, a lot of people just don't have. So sellers, savvy sellers, see the benefit of going ahead and paying the buyer's agent along with the listing agent. So just to sum that up, what she just said, that means when you enter into this agreement and you're looking at houses, you will have already established with your buyer's agent how long this contract is going to be,
what properties or area it's going to be for, and if this is the case, their compensation if the seller does not agree to pay the buyer's agent. It could be a percentage, it could be a flat fee, it could be a X number of dollars. That's all negotiable, but this will already have to be established before you even go look at the homes. Our son is texting us.
Jackson, go to work. Stop texting us right now.
So, like she said, in the event that a seller does not agree to pay a buyer's agent, a commission, a fee, or whatever it is for that buyer's agent to bring the buyer, then that contract that the buyer's agent and the buyer have together is binding, and the buyer will be, for lack of a better term, be on the hook to pay their agent. I mean, they're working too. So that just sums it up right there. Just know going into this, and this is across the board, guys. There's no way to skate around it. This is not like, oh, this is one certain brokerage doing this. This is not even statewide. This is nationwide. All 50 states. This literally came down from the National Association of Realtors. So this is where we're moving forward, and we want to be a resource to you guys to help you navigate this. We'll be glad just if you want to sit down individually, just because maybe a year from now you're going to think about buying a house and you need to sit down and talk to someone about this. Talk to us. Yes.
Oh, nothing. I mean, keep going. That is exactly what this conversation really, we wanted to spearhead these changes. And as a person, I'm a realtor, but before I was a realtor, I was like, well, okay, if I wasn't a realtor, how would this honestly affect me? But it would have, because I'm one of these people, like a lot of you out there are, that I have Zillow tracks going all the time. I'm looking at North Carolina, I'm looking at Savannah, I'm looking at Puerto Rico. Like, I'm looking at different markets all the time, not as a real estate agent, but as a buyer. So in order for me to be sitting on go, because here's what I foresee happening, guys. It's already out there that the interest rates are going to drop in September again. That means, oh gosh, here's our cat, our son's cat. Now she's coming to join. So the interest rates are going to drop. That means competition is going to increase in the market. That means more houses are going to be selling quicker than they have been currently. So if you are a person that's looking to buy a house immediately, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, what you need to do as a potential buyer is start now interviewing agents. We don't go to surgeons without talking to them first. We don't just join a church without sitting underneath the pastor for a little bit and getting to know them, to know that we trust them, that we like them. Guys, this is one of your biggest investments that you will make throughout your entire life, or one of many investments in homes that you're going to make. But at the end of the day, it's a huge deal. I mean, our median price here in Flagler Beach is like $450,000, $500,000. That's a lot of money. So in my opinion, and what I would advise most people to do, is to start the process now of interviewing agents. And when you do, and it might take a while, find somebody that you trust, that you know, and that you like. Because not only are you entering into a legal binding contract, but you're entering into a relationship with these people. So real estate is not just about the deals being made. There's relationships that happen. There's relationships that are broken. I don't know if you've ever heard of somebody say, don't use your friends to buy or sell your home because you won't be friends with them after the process. Real estate is very emotional.
It's a big
high stakes
decision,
a lot of
big
times.
investment.
Yeah. So it's not something, I think, and I think that's one of the greatest things that are going to come out of this, is it's going to put the responsibility on the buyer to know who you are using and trusting to help assist you in one of the biggest decisions of your life. Real estate can, and we have seen, can make or break people. So it's vital, and it always has been, but it's more than ever, it's vital to know that the person sitting across from you is going to look out for your best interest, isn't going to put something in that contract that's over your head and you're, like he said, on the hook for. So if you're looking to buy or sell, I would say let's start the process of interviewing agents. And it's not always going to be, and this is just going to be my plug because I'm a broker of a boutique brokerage. We are family owned and operated, and we have great agents that aren't family.
That we consider family because they're that close.
Yeah, but that aren't family, but we trust them at this point like they are. We hand over clients to them that, you know, we've worked really hard for. But so I say that it's not always about the name. You're buying with people, not with the brand. The brand is important. You want to make sure that it's reputable and it hasn't been sued, which is why all this started. Look up the NAR case of the last year and you'll see some of those name brand ones, those larger brokerages, are why all this changes came down the pipe. But I say all that to tell you, you have to be able to know that when you're on a cruise, your realtor is here when crap goes sideways, answering their phone, getting your potential home to the closing table. And I will tell you this from recent experience.
It just happened.
Just within the last couple of weeks, Rob had got word that one of our listings was going to appraise low. It doesn't happen very often, but in this market, because we had it on the market for 6 months, sales happen during that time, and the original price gets skewed because it's appraised value. So the appraisal was going to come in low, and they said, we're not closing out this appraisal file for another 24 hours. You've got 24 hours to prove to us, Rob, listing agent, that this is a justifiable price. So what did Rob do? Well, first off, he answered his phone. So that's a plus. You got to know that your real estate agent is going to answer their phone. While they have a life, you got to make sure they have somebody on standby if they want to take some time off, which we always do. But Rob answered his phone, and he had 24 hours, and he did it. He found, and it only had to be the one good one, and he was able to find one that had just recently closed that specific appraiser had missed, that justified the 10 grand difference. So somebody was about to lose 10 grand. Either our sellers were going to have to come down, or the people buying it were going to have to come off of 10 grand.
Or they were going to lose the house.
Or they were going to lose the house. And guess what? They were on a cruise. They didn't know any of this was going on. So, but Rob handled it without them ever knowing that this was going on. Which leads me to my next point. That's what realtors have done so well, but has kicked themselves or shot themselves in the foot. I hate to say that this week. Lord forgive me. Anyway, but it's because there's a lot of behind the scenes things that decent, good realtors do, you'll never know about. Because we don't want you to know about it. Because we want this to be a seamless process, an enjoyable process. It's stressful enough to have to move, to have to call insurance companies, to have to call and deal with mortgage companies over and over. I mean, you're dealing with so much and trying to live life at the same time. The last thing you want to deal with is an appraisal going sideways. So that's just one instance where I say this is going to cause the buyer to have to slow down and do some research, which is an absolutely fantastic thing in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think what we're going to see in the real estate world is a lot of the riffraff, a lot of the part-time realtors that are just taking up space, blowing deals, not working for their clients, but working for themselves. They're going to go to the wayside because this is it's a lot. It's a lot right now for real estate agents, but I look at it as a positive thing. Because at the end of the day, we've always said commissions are negotiable. We've always been over backwards to make sure that the deals get done. But yeah, I mean, I think though, if you're looking to buy, it's just time to start doing some research on realtors. Now, don't get stuck with the perfect home coming on the market and you're like, who do we call?
Yeah.
and you miss out on that home because competition is going to pick up when the interest rates drop. So be ready. Just be ready. It's just enough. I mean, you need to, that's just one more step. You need to pick your realtor. You need to pick your mortgage company. You need to go ahead and find a reputable insurance company. All these things need to be in line prior to you falling in love and looking or starting to look at a house. Like, you don't want to get caught behind when it's like things start popping.
So that's why we're doing this. We're giving you a heads up. This goes into effect August the 17th as it is right now, and that may change. It was delayed once before. It may change again. I don't know, but August 17th as it is right now is the date. So we're giving you guys a heads up, and we're wanting you to have a heads up. Literally, if you're thinking about moving next year or the year after next, you can go ahead and establish that relationship with a realtor now, and with a mortgage company and everything else. Run your finances, all that good stuff. But we want to be a resource for you. Like I said earlier, if you have questions about this, no agreements have to be signed. You come and talk to us. You call us and talk to us, and we will answer any questions that we have the answer for. If I don't have the answer, I'll go find it. Because I'll be honest right now, we don't have all the answers because NAR doesn't have all the answers as it stands right now. We're working there. We're getting there. But we're staying on top of it so we can educate you guys. So if you are going to be in the market to buy a house over the foreseeable future, weeks, months, year, whatever, give us a call. Let us talk to you, guide you through some of the questions, because it's, like I said earlier, it's a big change. It's just going to be a big change for all the buyers here in Florida.
And if you're looking, here's another little caveat I want to add, and then we'll let this go, because 30 minutes is a long time to talk about a buyer's agent agreement. It's not the most fantastic thing to talk about. But if you're looking to move outside of the state, please, by all means, you don't have to sign a buyer's agent agreement with me, but I can help you find a reputable realtor in North Carolina, in New Mexico, in California, wherever
Tennessee,
you want to
wherever.
go, Puerto Rico. We can help you find those realtors that are reputable. That way it's not so scary, and that way you can enter into that buyer's agreement with the backing that, hey, this person's legit, they've checked out. We're members of a very elite group that has like well-established realtors all over the nation. So I could make one phone call and have you in front of one of the best in, say, Ohio. You know, so just if that is the case, please let us know. We can help you. That way you're not so, going to a new state, meeting a new realtor. Sometimes you can't even get there to meet with such realtor, so we can set up appointments with you via FaceTime with that realtor. We will sit with you. It's just, we don't want you to go into it blindsided. Unfortunately, we work in a profession that has a reputation for doing some unethical things, which is why we're here. So, I'm not one to beat around the bush, never have been. It is what it is. It's no secret. You can look up everything you need to know about our profession and understand that, these changes are good. These changes are going to get rid of some of the things that have gone on both the buyer's agents or agents side as well as buyers. I mean, I can't even count on my two hands the amount of times I've been sharked by buyers. And it's very deflating because as a realtor, as a mom, you got bills to pay. And when you've spent a whole week showing somebody a property and then all of a sudden they just don't answer, and then you find out they picked their buddy from church to sell it, a house that you showed, it's deflating to say the least. While you could go after that, we never do, because at the end of the day, we have a lot going on. We just move on. But that is what this will prevent, hopefully. It will also give you the confidence knowing that the person's going to be working for you on your behalf, and they're going to get the house of your dreams or the investment property that you've been needing to the closing table, and with minimal hiccups, hopefully. And that is why I think this is a good thing. I really do.
Yeah. So this is for your benefit. this is going to protect you so you don't go into any negotiations in a house
Unrepresented.
unawares and unrepresented. Okay, and like we said, everything in this agreement is negotiable, and that'll be between you and your realtor. So give us a call if you have any questions. If you're looking to list a house, we're mostly listing agents. We have a lot of lists. We're always looking for that, but we help buyers every single day. I've probably got people that are going to see this Facebook Live that I'm helping right now. So give us a call. We'll answer all your questions. If we don't have the answers, we'll find them for you.
All right, guys, we're here, 386-320-5530, Styles Real Estate Co., covering St. John's, Volusia, and, of course, Flagler County. Check us out on our website. Okay, I'm tired.
There's only one.
And it's stylesrealestateco.com. You can follow us on all the social media platforms. You can even check him out on Twitter. It's non-real estate related, and I'm picking at him, but he's a Twitter star, by the way.
No, it's not Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you are a Twitter star too, but that's called X. It's TikTok. My bad. TikTok star right here. Check him out. But we are here for you. We are the Locals Realtor, and we look forward to hearing from you. And hey, let's go buy you a house.